All right. Great. Nice to see you here. We here for another week. So people can ask questions on the dashboard, ask a question. No one has yet, which is okay. We can do that in the chat or raise hands and talk it through. Cool. Let's just checking all that we have here. Cool. All right. Hello, everyone. Who has a burning question I want to touch on?
So I do see Ed asked a question. He needs his dashboard created and was told to show up here and ask about them. So Ed, did you get that from Elizabeth to show up here?
I did. She told me last
And
night on the Leap call.
so what I would say is normally Blue builds those. He will build them on the call. We just need to make sure he actually knows that he needs to come build one.
Oh,
Yeah.
go for it. You could do it. You could channel Blue for the day.
I could channel Blue for the day, but I figured since that's a leap benefit, I'm going to let Blue actually build that one.
Yeah.
I have no problems waiting a few days. I just didn't know. She just told me to let them know when I was coming and to do it. And I said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow. So
Blue loves to do that.
Ed, who are your people and how are you going to serve them?
so my people are LGBTQ individuals, more specifically people that are coming out after the age of 35. And I'm supporting them in the coming out process as well as dealing with all the emotional crap that's going on right now with being LGBTQ.
You are brave. Good luck with your mission.
And I am announcing it like right after this call. So
I think you've already announced it. I think we're Facebook Live, right, Grant? Are we
Not
live streaming?
Facebook.
Oh,
It's
but
only
we are.
it's only live streaming to YouTube as a recording. No one's watching it.
Okay, got it.
So I know that there's I know there's an event running right at the moment, a decent size event. Decent size is in 5,000 or so. I'm just checking whether Blue is able to come. So Blue is he's certainly his own man, and so he doesn't need anyone to defend him, least of all me. So I won't make any excuses.
I have no problem sending it. I don't need it today.
Yeah,
So
Cat.
send
I
him an
think Cat
email.
King would have been expecting it today. Is that right, Cat? We'll see.
Grant, is there an optimum number of resources? Like, should we limit resources to so many? Do you have a best practices for the side window of resources to offer during a
So from a technical limitation point of view, there isn't, although it depends on the theme, right? So the different themes do make a difference. But of course you can place those in different places, and meaning that you could have different sections of resources, and multiple sections, and you may want to use some of them as buttons, right? And sometimes that's the case that you may have some, nice to have resources and absolutely must have resources, right? And so when the must haves are like the workbook or something that you're going to be lost if you don't have this resource, you may choose to put that as a button, as a main button, right? So that it's really easy to find. Same with being able to put buttons at the bottom of blog posts. And so, yeah, so I'd think about that and just test how that's working, particularly on mobile devices, and just seeing where that sits. So normally you'll find that things will scroll and that you can scroll through it. And so that's from a technical point of view. And then obviously from a philosophical, or like, what if you're not wanting to overwhelm people with a whole bunch of options, you may want to try to categorize them and things like that, and think about PDFs that you might be able to just put together in a single resource document, that might work better, so that they're not having to link through. So it's thinking about that. Can you consolidate resources, and can you choose the most important ones? Does that help?
Yeah, it does. When I first started doing this, I had like a dozen guest speakers and 15 resources. And over time, I'm learning that it can, and that simpler is more master. So I was wondering if you had an optimum number, but it doesn't sound like there is.
Sorry, you were just cutting out. I'm not sure if that was just me.
Nope, not just you.
Okay, good.
But I think what I heard from Kat is when she started out, she had like 12 to 15 resources from various speakers, and over time she has
Gotcha.
pared it down and learned that simpler is better.
That's it.
Yeah.
You got it, Justin.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing with speaker resources is that it could go on the speaker's page under each speaker as well, right? So you can create a resource document or links to the speaker, and so so that's another way of, specifically for speaker resources, you could put them at their on their speaker page.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, so I've just heard back from Blue. He can't make it right now. What he has asked is that if we get the, so Kat, you've got have you got your sales page sorted out? Is that something that's happened? Oh, you lowered your hand but didn't unmute.
Yes, I've got it mostly done, not everything done, because even the people that I saw didn't have everything done. So I just wanted it built. But I'll keep on using my Zoom room, and I'll keep on doing my own thing with what I'm doing. So
Well,
okay.
yeah. So I'm just a messenger here. All that he has asked is for the sales page link, logo, and the template that you want to use. We can work through that now if you want, and work out what template you'd like to use, and then the organization name, the event name, so we can make sure that happens, and then Blue will be able to do it this week. So same goes. Ed, have you got a sales
I'll
page?
send it to Elizabeth.
Yep.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir. Should I send those to Elizabeth as well? Is that the easiest way to get it to Blue?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that.
Cool.
So look, for it is an inclusion in Leap to have a dashboard built out. We often do it on these calls because it just makes sense that people watch as it happens. But this, you can talk about it being a strength and a weakness, perhaps. The strength of both Blue and I running Obvio is that we also work in the industry, and so we're also working on events, and so that's a real strength, I think, because the platform is built around actually doing it, and we're constantly making changes, or improvements based on the events that we're running. The weakness of that comes out in times like this, where you can see that sometimes we do just get caught up, and we can't do some of the things because we've got an event that's going on, and there might be requirements there. So yeah, that's the reality there. So yes, we send that through to Elizabeth. I'll just put, just so you've got that clear, I'll just put that in the chat. As those key things, and then get that through to Elizabeth. And all right, I'll just reply. It's like trying to type and talk at the same time. There is no multitasking. It's just fast switching. Liz, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, g'day. Yeah.
Yeah, g'day.
I'm good.
Grant, I have just come in response to your email to learn how to
Oh, yeah, good.
do side-by-side view, please.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's a bit of a tease, isn't it? You see what Blue and Barry are doing with the events and some of the fanciness. So it is all just a so for everyone else, Liz was just asking about, seeing side by side, seeing slides and a talking head, and in some of the events that Sage do, and wanting to know if that's just a button we can click in Zoom, or what is that. And unfortunately it's not. To Zoom, what that is the same as your camera input, right? And so the camera, what Zoom is seeing is just a full frame input into Zoom. What Sage is doing at the studio is in more standard AV production equipment, is doing all of that. So using things like an ATEM, a Blackmagic ATEM switcher, to create side by side, or picture in picture is often PIP, or picture in picture. It's often what it's called, and where you have a background layer, and then put in an image, or the slides, having live slides coming from PowerPoint or something, and then a talking head side next to it.
Do they need to have their own Zoom?
So think of it in terms of more like TV at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Zoom is used both as content coming into the show, mm-hmm. and used as the output of the broadcast.
Yep.
And so, and often they are separate Zooms. So if and this is how we do lots of the larger events, is that we might have a completely different Zoom room in Obvio as our speaker Zoom.
Yep.
And then we'll have another one for the attendees. And so then when we have when we take that speaker Zoom, and we take the feed out of that into a switcher, hardware switcher,
yep.
HDMI, and then HDMI out of that going back into Zoom. And so it's a totally separate, often hardware solution.
Yep.
Now there are software solutions for that as well. There's ways of doing that all in software, but it's not a Zoom thing. and it's not an Obvio thing necessarily what you're seeing. Now, there are some ways in Zoom to be able to achieve some of these things, and so we could explore that. But I'm interested just to hear what's sort of the makeup of your event and the how many attendees and things like that. Help me understand that.
Yeah, we're not sure yet. We're still very much in the planning stages, but the having the background and the speaker and the slide sit side by side on top of that background just really looks very professional, and that's the look that we're after.
Yep, fair enough. Yeah, so yeah, and it works great for videos afterwards as well, right? Like on demand videos, or even selling the on demand packages or things like that. And so that's another advantage, is that you're essentially creating your videos live, because you're creating it that way. So generally the bottom line with it is that once you go to something like that, then you would normally have a team member or more that's handling all that for you. And whether they're choosing to do that in some software, so there's different software like vMix or Anycam. That's a different one. That's not what I meant. What is it, Justin?
There's OBS, vMix,
Ecamm. Thank you. Yeah. There's a few software solutions that can do it as well. Lots of us sort of prefer doing it in hardware and keeping it all really clear. But there are people also that, particularly in the Obvio circles, that can do this for you as well, right? So Justin and Muddy and I work on events where we handle all that for people, and particularly when it scales, when you scale above sort of 500 or so people, that's when we start doing it. So I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm just trying to inform you that's the way that works.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. It'd be great to have like a little cheat sheet, or maybe if you could just drop it in the chat, what type of software or what type of equipment we might need to look at.
Yeah.
I will say we can drop some stuff in, but I do think there's a lot of it depends. Like you go the hardware route, you need potentially more computers. There's a whole slew of things. You go certain software routes, they all have different kind of capabilities. And we can like point you in the direction of the software to investigate, hardware to investigate, but to truly give a like full like follow this and you're kind of done really depends on what the solution ultimately becomes.
Okay, thank you. A point in the right direction at the moment would be great.
Yeah, so the thing that I'd say, particularly because you're in Leap, is that Blue has done several, what are they called, Justin?
Tech Labs.
Yeah.
Or Tech Master Day.
Yeah. That's dived right into a lot of this. Particularly the hardware solutions that could be done, like one of the more recent ones was diving into a piece of equipment called the Video Caster Pro. Videocaster, is that it? And that could work particularly well. Yeah, it's a roadcaster video, and that's a piece of hardware that can handle doing a bunch of inputs. So that's where you'd have your PowerPoint coming in off of a computer input, and then a couple of cameras perhaps, and maybe a Zoom presenter. Now you've got those inputs, and now you can press a couple of buttons, and there is some templates for it that will do all the side by side. Upload an image for it to be in the background, and now the output of that switcher goes into Zoom, and there you go. Now you're up and racing, and that's a single piece of hardware. It makes it sound so easy.
No.
Yeah. So he actually does walk through all of that, and so I'd encourage you to have a look at that, and you could scrub through because that was a whole day, but you can scrub through it and you'll get the general idea. But it's one of those things, and I'm sure you've heard us say before that the thing to think about is the investment of time and knowledge in learning this yourself something that is going to pay dividends for years. Arguably it's not, right? Like and so you have to think about. I get it, and I get it, right? When you're starting out like this, you've got resources are low. You can't just pay people to do things for you. I totally get that. And so it's thinking about what is the bare minimum that I can do, knowing that I want to go to 10 in the future. Can I do 4 or 5 for now to get myself over the line, increase the resources, and build it up from there? Because there is time that you have now that you can invest in things that are going to pay dividends for the rest of the year, for years to come. There are things that only you can do, that only you know. And so that's the key thing is your event going to be massively hindered by not doing side by side? Arguably at this point, probably not. Because when you screen share into Zoom and you've already got your camera on, people are getting more and more familiar with Zoom as to how to arrange that on their screens and kind of get that sort of feeling, right? And so I'm not trying to coach you when you haven't asked for that, although that's probably what's happening. I'm sorry, but I just am encouraging you because it happens a lot. A lot of people are like, well, let me learn how to do all of this. And I would say, okay, I believe in you and believe that you're going to do really well with this. And at that point, you will never touch this stuff again. You'll never be playing with this equipment. You'll never be touching, because you'll be doing the thing that you do. You won't be messing around with tech, and you'll just have a person that handles tech for you. Yeah. And so is that fair?
Yeah, that's totally fair. For me, it's just about how professional it looks and how that presents to the audience. I mean, for me, I tech is not in my wheelhouse. But yeah, just how professional it looks is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and that's such a valid thing to be thinking about, because it's how does it come across? And ultimately what we're feeling, what we're wanting to achieve with people is what they feel, not what they think. Yeah. Right. And so when they come to your event, most people are not going to be thinking, oh, gee, they could have done a side by side. They should have been using a Videocaster Pro, right? They're not going to be thinking that. Yeah. But there will be a lower brain feeling that is like, this just seems a little bit, Mickey Mouse. And or they're thinking, man, this is great. Ultimately, it's going to be the content and the connection, the human connection, that they're going to be talking about for days to come. And it's not going to be then that no one's going to say, do you know what? I didn't really connect with them. Content was crap, but gee, it looked awesome. That it looked so good, that event. They really had all the tricks with side by sides, right? Like it's going to be, I had a great connection with them. I trusted them. They know their stuff, and the content was great. All of that was good, and it was just well ran. And I think that really is the key, because this is the other thing is when we add the complexity of these systems, the chances of there being a bit of a train wreck or a real slowdown of oh we haven't got the right thing on screen, can we get that on the screen now, you're like, whoa, like your event's just halted. Whereas if you do the things that you know really well, screen share's working, my camera's working, audio's great, bang, it's what you need, and then it can grow from there, right? Each time.
Thank you. Very much
No worries.
appreciated.
No
Have a
worries.
good day.
We can get, we can, Justin, have we got a link or something we can give Liz to that mastery day? Would you be able to help with that?
Yeah, I will be able to find that. I'll say also, Liz, I'll DM you a link to a video that Blue did with Loria back in probably 2021, where Blue did the hardware side and Loria did the software side. Like, yes, it's a little old, but concept wise, and a lot of that hardware actually still and software still exists. They've just added additional features to it. So
Thank you.
I will shoot that video your way as well.
Thank you. That'd be great.
No
I
worries.
do think one other thing we haven't talked about, though, that's an option that I've done on several events, is bring in the slides on its own computer or into the meeting and just spotlight that computer and then spotlight yourself. And so that's the easiest tech route to go without having to have a whole slew of software that you configure or a slew of hardware that you configure. Just do the side-by-side spotlight.
Can do that as an example. So do that as an example here. So
yeah, that's nice.
Right.
Okay, so that's 2 computers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this was my computer that I've got a switcher on it, and so essentially that's a computer input.
Yep.
And then Justin's is just his camera.
Okay, that's awesome.
Spotlighting them both.
Yep, that's really all I need.
Just like,
thanks, Justin.
You are welcome.
I could have done that without all the coaching that I didn't ask for. Just tell me how to spotlight twice would have been fine. Thanks.
Thank you. That's great.
No worries. Yeah, there's spotlight and then add spotlight is what you do with that.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
And just one thing, Liz, in case you haven't spotlighted before, just make sure when you're trying to test it, you have 3 people or more on the call. Zoom doesn't turn on the spotlight feature till you have 3 or more.
Yeah, that has caused a lot of panic in the past. Where's the spotlight gone?
Can you say something about the difference between pinning and spotlight?
Can we?
Pin, yeah. I can totally tell you what it is. Pinning is only your computer. Spotlighting impacts what I get to see. So like when Grant spotlighted us just a moment ago, it switched me from the gallery view to the speaker view. If he had just pinned, it would have only affected his computer.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good.
My question is piggybacking on what she is saying. Hi.
Yeah, go for it. Hey.
Piggyback or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So, so I have a client who is her trajectory is she's an influencer and a relationship coach and hired a marketing team. And in the past, it would just did the simple Zoom share screens, had about 350 people. But now we're getting ready that she's ready to level up. And now it's going to go to that next level. So, not the Tony Robbins level or not the whatever, but level up. Is there you mentioned a video and maybe there's like a checklist of tech stack of that next piece, like the switcher. So not all the bells and whistles, but something that would just take it one level up. Or is it the same answer?
I was going to say it's a very depends.
Yeah, that's right. Justin, you can go.
Answer, like when you say one level up, it could be let's get better lighting. It could be let's get better camera. It could be let's get something that allows to picture in picture. It could be a better microphone. So there's lots of one levels up in that one level up. Also, there's a lot of, is it truly one level up or is it like say, I'll just pick on audio. Is it the next level up for really good audio, which could have a range of several $100s for a microphone, or is it I only want something $100 or less? So there's just a lot of depends.
Yeah, depends. So she has a great lighting. She records all the time. She has YouTube channel. She has audio She has I believe she has the camera. So I think the next piece would be the switcher. I don't remember what it's called. It's a MIDI, right? Or a
Mini,
Yeah, if you-
ATEM Mini, or there's a few
Yeah,
Yeah, if you look
yeah.
back up in the chat, you should see a chat for me that I've listed the 3 softwares we talked about and the 2 hardware switches we talked about.
I can't. I joined late, so I don't
Okay.
see it. Would
I will
anybody
put it right
I
back
see
in the
it
chat.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to post it here in 1 sec. There you go.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. And then you mentioned a video that kind of does a walkthrough of how that works somewhere, right?
That one would be if you're in Leap program, so Barry and Blue's coaching program.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
if you're in there,
Oh.
then it's definitely in the member hub. We can get you that.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
I do see some
Yeah.
other questions you asked that we should answer there because I did see your post.
Yeah, that's right.
Obvio does integrate with Go High Level, since you did ask that.
Oh, it does?
Yep. If you go underneath the attendees menu and go under services, it's one of the services listed.
Great. Cool. And so following up on that, the registration process would start in forgive me, I was a founding member of Obvio and then I disappeared.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back. So because there's a need, right? So at that time, registration happened in Obvio, but it was connected in Infusionsoft, so you had the tagging going between the 2 systems.
Mhm.
Is that still true? But you could do that with High Level?
Yes. Yep. So the same concept works in that in High Level, the what Obvio is looking for is a specific tag,
Yep.
and Obvio actually tells you what that tag needs to be. So
Okay.
when you do the connection, you'll
Yeah.
create you'll connect it to your account,
Yep.
and then it will say, here's the tag that we're going to be looking for. You'll then essentially copy that tag, or I mean, it's
Yeah.
created as well, but you can
Right.
in High Level, depending on what your flow would be, perhaps it's
Right.
some sort of sign up or a purchase or whatever. At the end of that, at that process of them signing up, you'll add that tag. That tag then triggers Obvio. So first name, last name, email is the basic that goes across to Obvio, and then Obvio creates the attendee and then sends the login URL, like the magic link, back to High Level into their contact record.
Okay, so it's
And
still about the same, and it puts them in their own room if you have more than one Zoom room.
so at that point, what all that's doing is that it's just creating it so that they have their own dashboard access. You then determine where you want them to go as far as if you're creating multiple Zoom rooms, or it depends on what you need for your event. But from a CRM point of view, from Go High Level, what that's doing is that it has that login link that gets them to the dashboard automatically logged in without any passwords or anything. So all of that yes, in the same way that it was done with Infusionsoft, or Keep as it's called now, same thing was that all the emails are going out from Keep, and they all have the URL in them, and that sends people into Obvio, and now you can do whatever you want with them in there. Now there is the ability also to have certain other tags that you might want from High Level to come over to Obvio, so that you could then filter, sort, segment, whatever you want to do. A simple example is a ticket type, general admission and a VIP ticket. And if they have the VIP tag, when they come to Obvio, they could have certain things on the dashboard that appear just for VIPs. So they get extra resources, or they get to access the VIP room at the lunchtime, or whatever it is. Because you've got that tag that came from High Level, was synced over to Obvio. Obvio can now say, if VIP tag exists, then show this. And so then there's a few more advanced level moves as well in that, but they're but that's the basics of how that works. And essentially that's how it works with all 7 or 8 different CRMs that we've got. It's very similar. But yes, high level is being used a lot now. So
yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer at the moment.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, because the hope and the goal is that she'll end up having this after the free webinar, is that there will be a group coaching that will happen twice a week for 8 weeks, with being prepared for that being larger numbers. And then there'd be a VIP version that she's actually going into the breakout room with those who have VIP. And then for those who don't have VIP, they'll be on their own in their own breakout rooms, and then everybody come together in the main room. So
Right.
same concept as what you're saying, just the paid program rather than the webinar.
Sure. Yeah, a thing to just to keep in mind is that terminology is really important as you're working through the event design.
Yeah.
Something that we don't help with is when we talk about Zoom rooms, because we call them Zoom rooms because it makes sense to us, particularly when we have multiple rooms. Essentially, they're just Zoom meetings. They're just multiple Zoom meetings that are separate, and that we're sort of thinking of them as a group because of how we assign people to them.
Yeah.
So there's Zoom meetings and there's breakout rooms, right? And so a breakout room exists within a Zoom meeting. And so sometimes you can achieve everything you wanted to achieve within one Zoom meeting with breakout rooms.
Okay.
There's nothing really that there's no way of automatically assigning someone from the Obvio dashboard directly to a Zoom meeting breakout room, right?
Okay.
But there is the ability, and what you may have experienced before, is having multiple Zoom meetings and assigning people to those. And that's easily done. Giving access only to a certain meeting for some people and a different meeting for another, or a group of meetings for others. And that's what you see with those larger events, is that if there's 10 meetings going, there's 8 for general admission, there's 1 for VIP, and there's 1 for Spanish, as an example, right? So that's the way that we can segment it across meetings. And then when we do breakout rooms, breakout rooms is happening across all of those, where people are clicking on every one of those 10 meetings and making people go into breakout rooms. And so it's just when you're thinking through the event design, it's just understanding those really clearly, and then helping everyone by defining all the terms, right? And then it makes sense, because it does get super confusing when we say, are we doing breakout rooms within a meeting, or are we doing breakout sessions? We start using these terms and they kind of overlap, and it's like, we're doing concurrent sessions. It's like, once we get all that terminology right, it lines up with the tech as well, and then we know everyone's on the same page, that we have multiple Zoom meetings, or we've just got one meeting and we're doing lots of manipulating of the breakout rooms within that one Zoom meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. I'll recap. And
yeah, please.
In fewer words than you did, hopefully.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate it. I just don't want to waste everybody's time. From what I took away from that is, it would be easier if she wants to do, okay, they bought the VIP package. And that's the room that she's going to go into their breakout rooms, cycle through. It would be easier to have multiple meetings, as in Zoom meetings, so that one Zoom meeting is the VIP Zoom meeting, and then the other one or other, it doesn't matter how many, we'll do the box seat, or the general audience
Right.
They're in their own different Zoom meetings. So therefore you can, from a tech standpoint, you can designate this Zoom meeting has, we'll say 100 people, and it's called the VIP meeting. And when breakout rooms happen, this is the one that she's going to float around in. And that will be easier to organize from a tech side than trying to do. I see, I'm like struggling over the words for the same reason.
No,
Am I?
yeah. So I didn't say easier. And so that right. And this is always the thing, is that what might be easier in one way might be more difficult on the back end or another way to make it happen, right? So easier on the day because you can jump through, and it's easy for her to be able to jump through the different rooms, and you've just got one room that only has VIPs in it. That's great. But as soon as you go to multiple Zoom meetings, now there's a production overhead, which is different. You've got to get audio and video into each one of those meetings independently. And if you want to be able to talk, it just gets much, much more complicated once you go, even going from one room to two rooms is really complicated. Going from two to three rooms is not as complicated, right? And so from a tech easier point of view, I would argue that it's easier to do that all within one meeting, and manipulate the breakout rooms to put all of the VIPs in the same breakout rooms. So it's totally possible to do that. But you can see that there's multiple levels to it that take a bit to work through, and it's the driving motivation is really what's important. Is what are we trying to achieve, and what is the easiest way to do that achieves what we want to do. And often it is the numbers. You talked about how the numbers are kind of going to the next level. One of the things that's worth just thinking about is if you're sort of at 350, 400 people, that's great. In a single meeting, it's going to be fine, right?
Right.
The limit often is not the 1,000 people per meeting limit that you're thinking of. It's the 100 breakout rooms. So 100 breakout rooms means that at 1,000 people, you got 10 people per breakout room, which often is too many.
Right.
And so a limit that's worth keeping in mind for everyone is perhaps 500-600 people per meeting, right? Because that's probably, and it depends on the content and what you're trying to achieve, but that generally is the optimal size, is 5 to 6 people per breakout room. So now we've actually got a limit of sort of 500 people. So as soon as you go over to 600-700 people, well, now you're needing to do multiple rooms probably anyway, and that forces your hand in doing multiple rooms. But you might just find that the free event has many hundreds of people, and then the paid post event has much less, and you could do that all within a single Zoom meeting. So
but I think my takeaway, once you go to 2 meeting rooms, now you have to get serious about what's the tech and the people to do it.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And by all means, come back every week, ask as many questions as you want, but always happy to, this is not strictly Obvio sometimes that we get into, but it's all kind of hinges around Obvio, and that's why we're happy to keep talking about it all for you. So
okay. Much appreciated.
And I would say, to tag onto this as well, I definitely think, depending on the number of people, trying to manually sign those VIPs into their own breakout room can be really taxing. I've tried to do that with a 300-person event where breakouts weren't happening and I was manually assigning. 15 minutes in, I only had half the people assigned, because the workflow is kind of, you click on the person, you click an assign button, you pick a room, and you rinse and repeat. And so as that number of people goes up, it takes a lot. You almost have to dedicate someone to it. If it's only 5 or 10 people, no big deal. But if you're talking hundreds of people, you might, even in a single Zoom room, you might have to consider, is it worth trying to put all the VIPs in a single breakout, Or do you potentially need to pay someone to try to create you a little breakout room app that might be able to give you some options, but has to have some custom development? So there's some other considerations with that breakout room thing, just from a sizing perspective as well.
Yeah, it's important that that breakout room is 3 to 5 people. And exactly what you're saying, Justin, is what's been happening. I'm the one that's sitting there behind the thing and then planning ahead for the next one, and then planning ahead for the next one.
It
So
takes a lot, especially if their goal is they hired a marketing company and they're scaling up their events. Like you could literally have someone on there nonstop just clicking buttons. And unfortunately, it's a
Right.
one-person job because till you open the breakouts, you can't do anything.
Oh, I was hoping you was telling me there's a magic thing and Obvio has advanced it
I know.
out, and now you can do it ahead of time with tags and automation. But no. Okay, that answered a
Nope.
lot of questions.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
that-
searching for.
that's where the custom development would come in. That Zoom has a whole platform behind it that people can tie into, but you need a software developer to actually go create you a custom application, and like much more involved conversation in there, and can be fairly expensive depending on what you're asking for in there. But out of the
Yeah.
box, there is nothing great to say. If someone's name contains this, stick them in this set of breakout rooms, and if it doesn't, stick them in this set. There's nothing out of the box that Zoom offers for that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I feel like I could sit here and just dominate and ask you questions, so I'm going to back out and let somebody else have a turn.
Well,
Yep.
it's good to have an OG back here. It's nice to see you again.
Yes, welcome back. And before we leave this questioning, just because I saw it in the chat from Liz, as you can. So Liz, just to answer the first one, does everyone see the same thing when you have multiple Zoom rooms? Typically, yes, with the right tech pumping the video and the audio into each of the Zoom rooms, but it's up to the tech crew to make sure that they pump in whatever video or audio needs to be in each of the rooms. So it doesn't have to be the same thing, but typically it is, and there's a whole slew of tech that we won't go into behind how to make that work. And then the next one, is there training on it? There really is not a training that I know of on it. This is what all the big AV companies kind of get paid to do in a lot of cases. So most of them don't really want to create the how-to videos because that's kind of their bread and butter. But there are lots of YouTube videos that will talk about the various techs and how to kind of do it. But I don't know of anyone that has like a course or anything.
Yeah. It's helpful thinking about it as acquisition and distribution. It's fancy words, but it's just the idea that you're thinking about the content that is the show and then broadcasting it to lots of people. And so often the larger events get to a point where they're essentially a live stream. They're sort of just watching a live stream in Zoom. And so, yes, everyone's getting the same thing. And then the personalization interaction often happens within breakout rooms, and so now it's like, okay, now you're going to talk about that for 5 minutes, send everyone into breakout rooms. They come back, they're all seeing the same thing. So where it gets tricky is when you want to have people be able to unmute and talk and ask questions. And so someone in room 1 is talking. The complexity is now that your distribution pipeline has suddenly now become your acquisition pipeline. And so now you're thinking, how do I get that person onto the screen so that everyone sees them? And so, and there's ways to do it, but is often, that's why lots of events just go to a text chat with questions and things, and they take questions like that. Or they design it only where only room 1 can ask questions, and no one really knows that. Someone sitting in room 4 doesn't really know that they keep only calling on people that are in room 1, but that's the way that the tech is all set up, so that only one room works like that. So yeah, there's lots.
So as you can tell, it's a very deep conversation that we can have with lots of answers. And then the unfortunate side is none of the answers are technically wrong,
and that
makes it even more fun to have the conversation.
Well, and that's,
go ahead.
yeah, go.
I was just gonna, out of curiosity, knowing that information and having gone through the virtual event on virtual events a few times, is what size of a team does it take to do that? Especially like that was probably what was happening at that time, right? That we're only gonna call and unmute in room 1 or meeting room and then
Yeah.
just switch.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how
Yeah.
experienced the team is. Like I'm a team of 1 when I run events, and a lot of people that I know in the AV world are like, how the heck? Like, are like, we have 4 or 5 people to do something. But being the software developer background that I have, I've written a lot of automation, so I don't have to go and do a lot of things that sometimes you dedicate people to. So it could be as simple as a team of 1. It could be as many people as it takes in there. Obviously, if you're doing something like pick on a Tony Robbins event, if you had 25 rooms, there is no way a single person could get a breakout room opened up across all 25 rooms in a good amount of time, because you have to go to each Zoom instance and set that up. So you would need a few people to kind of manage those. So it just depends on
And
how big the event is.
if you've got 10,000 people coming to your event, then you'll have the money to be able to pay for a big team to do it.
Exactly.
Specifically around TVE, there's an audio person, there's a video person who's switching video, and there's a Zoom person, right? It's kind of those 3 key. There's other team members, but they're the key from a tech side. And that's generally the way that I work with online events as well. Is I generally have a team of 2 or 3. I tend to go 3, and we actually end up having sort of a producer as well, someone who's show calling it, who is like stage manager. They're interacting with the speakers, telling them, making sure they're ready, giving them timings, all of that sort of stuff. And they're calling, okay, let's play this video now, and so that the techs are able just to concentrate on their task and take instructions. That's where it works well. So team is really important. And actually it's something that I really like getting my head around team, because you can often see that here are all the roles. Is it possible to roll those into one person? And often it is. And for the different size events, you may be able to roll those roles into the one person, but it always comes at a cost, And so that's why as the event gets larger, those roles get separated out into individuals, and so that they can cope with the complexities, particularly the things that happen that you weren't planning. So when things go wrong, you don't want the whole show to stop. You just want, that element, is what's happened. And that's, I often talk about like the Formula One team pit stops. It used to be like 9-10 seconds 30 years ago, and now it's 1.7 seconds. They're changing tires, filling up with fuel, all of that. Why? Because they have each person doing one task. And that's where it gets really efficient, is that they can laser focus on that one task. And so I can argue that Justin won't be able to do a pit stop in 1.7 seconds, unless your automation.
Definitely
not. That's right. So it's just an example of that.
Yeah, you get to suffer and wait until a break happens.
That's exactly. Yeah. So thank you, Sharon. You've been trying to keep us moving along quickly and not take up too much time. But the problem is you're asking these things that are soapbox topics for me, and so I start rabbiting on. But thank you. Great questions. All right.
And then next question.
Mario.
Well, Amelia submitted a question already, so let's get Amelia, and then we'll get Mario.
All right, I see.
Mara or Mario?
Hang on.
You came in as Mario, but how is it actually pronounced?
I'm Jessica. I'm not Mario. Okay. Mario's my husband. He's my business partner. So I don't know. I'm Jess.
Perfect.
Oh, good.
Perfect. So Jess, let us get Amelia here real quick, since she pre-submitted, and then we'll get back to you. But I at least wanted to make sure we knew how to address you. It's all good. Amelia, feel free to unmute. You had asked about adding some tag or some text behind the Zoom participant name. Is how I took that. You said add tags behind them, but I'm assuming you want like a
Yeah, like,
dash
you know,
VIP
it's
or
like
something behind them.
you've got the VIP at the end of the thing or whatever, you know, so and you were going back and forth with me in private chat, and I think I got it, but it's really confusing. So I went into I found the attendee label thing, and then you have to do the visibility rules. And then once you do the visibility rules and you add it, the group key does not look like it's a fill outable thing. It's completely grayed out. But when you answered that you have to you have to type in the group key or whatever, I clicked in it and it's like, oh, there's a drop down menu of all the things. That is not obvious. So that might be something
I'm actually adding that right now because
yeah.
you are correct.
And then
That
the
needs to be
other thing
fixed.
is when I hit save, right? If I said is filled and I hit it, or you know, group key is and choose my group, and then I put in is filled and I hit saved, the add attendee label, there's an X, there's a back, and there's an add rule. Well, back to me tells me that I'm going backwards, I'm going out of the thing. Add rule just adds another rule, like it's like here's the layers of the rule, and that didn't get me back to the attendee place where I can like put in the tag or whatever. And then the X just closes out of everything, and it took me like 5 times to figure out that I have to hit the back button to get to this, because
Yeah, fair enough.
it was it was yeah, it was.
So for those playing along at home, what we're doing is adding a label or just adding something at the end of people's names in Zoom. So this is called attendee labels. And so we're choosing what do we want to use to filter that for this person. We're saying VIP. So I've said tag includes VIP. We go back here, and so we can see here tag include VIP, and then what I want the label to be is VIP. And so then we add that. So now it's saying that's set. VIP, tags include VIP. And
So
so
I was doing groups because I've got this is a personal event thing that I've got for my family. So I've got bio kids and foster kids, right? So I was doing groups, right? And so like that group key,
yeah,
it doesn't look like there's anything in there, right? Until you click in it. If you have groups, then right. And then I just put is filled out because I typed in the group, right?
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
And then it came to this piece, but this doesn't tell me, and I didn't fill that out first, right? So because it was saying you have to do the visibility rule. Anyway, thank you, Jonathan, or Justin, sorry, brain's dead. Thank you, Justin, for walking me through that, and I appreciate. I know it was a PEBCAC error, so or an ID10T error, one of those two. So,
and I did jot down a couple tasks for the dev team to at some point get to fix some of the things that you mentioned.
Make it a little more obvious, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's there, it works, and you guys are doing great work. Believe you me, I love this. I love Obvio. It's freaking fabulous. I use it for almost everything. So,
but I agree. Grayed out things typically indicate disabled things that you're not supposed to touch or can't touch. So I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay.
Perfect.
Jessica.
Thank you for changing my name. I appreciate that.
No worries.
So I've been in the group for a while, but I haven't used Obvio before. I've done like Zooms for my coaching program with like 500 to 800 people. So I've done big Zoom rooms, but now we obviously want to switch to Obvio. What do you think the best thing to do to get started with? Because obviously using a new system, I'm a little like, oh, Zoom's fine. but I know this has so many other amazing tools. So can you just tell me like the best way to get started? Because we are going to be doing a masterclass at the end of August. And I just want to make sure that we present in the best way possible to do our high ticket offer.
Okay. It's a great question. Where I start with this is the difference between Obvio and a standard Zoom meeting. And it's a couple of different things. One is that there's the email, the actual link that people get. So in a Zoom meeting, I don't know whether you were sending links, people were registering through Zoom and they were getting their links through Zoom. Obviously that goes away, and now we have, you need to be able to send your emails through to people either from Obvio or from a CRM. Are you using a CRM system?
Yeah, we just switched from HubSpot to Go High Level.
Okay. Yep. So if the intention is that people would sign up through Go High Level, is that kind of the idea, that they would register?
Well, normally we'll do like a whole pre-campaign through our email list. Like we were using like Constant Contact and MailChimp. We have like a list of like 200,000 event planning professionals. So we'll do like pre-promotions through there. But we're moving like everything to Go High Level. So we'll be like join the Business Profit Masterclass and send out links there with a link for them to register to the masterclass.
Great. So it makes sense then that your registration is tied through to Obvio with the high level integration, right? And were you hearing before about how I talked about that high level integration? I'm not sure if you were on then. No, that's okay. So that's straightforward, and just high level, give you a high level approach of high level. Yeah. Is that when you set up the integration between Obvio and high level, Obvio is going to say, it's going to generate a tag, and that tag is what you'll tag people with in high level. So as part of whatever process you do, their registration, they buy something, whatever you want it to be in high level, at the end of that process, they're going to get tagged with the tag that Obvio said. And Obvio is watching and looking for tags, that tag for people. As soon as one gets tagged, that data gets sent across to Obvio, first name, last name, email, and Obvio creates them as an attendee and then sends back that login URL back to high level. That's now a field. That's now a custom field within high level. And so then you're able to send out emails with this is your unique login, magic link. There's lots of names people use, but this is your link, right?
So is it like a general link that everybody gets the same link?
No, it's a unique link. That means that there are no passwords required. Oh, did I change? Is there another Jessica, or did I change Jessica Stewart?
Oh, my assistant Sam is on the phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Yeah. I was sure I changed it once, and then I saw that you were back. So
yeah.
Everyone's Jessica.
Yeah.
All right. So then that it means that it's a passwordless process, right? Because that way, when people click on that Obvio link, it takes them to the dashboard in exactly the same way that you came here as Mario, right? We knew that it was Mario because that was the link. And so you came to the dashboard. On the dashboard, I think it might even say, hello, Mario. And then click the link to join Zoom, and then you join Zoom as Mario, right? So there was no entering passwords or emails or anything. It was a unique link, and that was the way that the email that you got is the one that got you in here. And so so that means that everyone gets a unique link that is theirs. So that's one aspect of what you are already doing with Zoom and the registration. You've now dramatically leveled up in lots of ways because you can customize all of that. That's now branded for you. That's, that whole process. You can send them a welcome email straight away as soon as they've signed up. You can send, whatever schedule you want to do, you can do that. So that's that aspect. The next thing is that the normal approach is that with a Zoom meeting, you click the link. If you're early, you're going to get waiting for host to start meeting. Right? Pretty uninspiring type of experience. Whereas with Obvio, you're going to get that dashboard, fully branded, have as much content or as little content as you want. The bare minimum that you need on a dashboard is a link to get into Zoom, right? And so if you're thinking that your dashboard is your home for your event for before, during, and after, right? And so sometimes we even call it like a temporary membership site.
Yeah.
Right? It's just for that event. And so, and the event can be any duration, but that becomes the home. And so the one function that it needs to serve is to get people into Zoom, and that's that Zoom button. But as you would have experienced, there's a lot more that you could put there. If that's now the home, that can be the store place for resources and some video and some and welcome messages and all sorts of other things, bios for the speakers and vendors. You may have sponsors that want to speak and have advertising and things like that, right? So that can expand as much as you want. But for getting started, you need to get people their login link. You have a process for the attendee to be created in Obvio. Get them their attendee link, get them to the dashboard, and then the dashboard has a link for them to join Zoom.
So the first thing is to create the dashboard so that when they have the link, they can go into that. And then I just saw Justin put in how to set up the dashboard. So that's fantastic to do that. And then on that dashboard, are we allowed to do links? Like if we do like a VIP upgrade, like if somebody registers just as general admission, can we do like a VIP upgrade? And then when we do our coaching program, like this is where you can click to book a follow-up call.
100%.
All of that can be on there.
Yeah. All of that is commonplace for particularly our larger events. And something that can happen too, you talk about a VIP upgrade, particularly when you're using an external system like High Level, you could have a link that that sends people to an upgrade payment form that then changes a tag on their contact. That tag can be synced with Obvio. So now they've got a VIP tag in Obvio, and now you can customize the dashboard based on them being a VIP.
Oh, I love that, because a workbook, a background, anything like that.
Right.
Oh,
all of that. Also, I mean, this is a really simple thing, but it also means you can hide the upgrade to VIP button, right? Because they're already VIP, right?
Right.
So, and so thank you for being VIP. You now have access to XYZ. And particularly in the enrollment events, which is 95% of what Obvio is used for, is when you have a pitch that happens during the event and you do a sell, is potentially doing like a welcome lunch for people that have joined. And that can be an easy way to do that. Is it's a totally separate Zoom meeting, separate button on the dashboard, and it's only for people that have the tag of new registration, VIP registration, whatever it is. And now it's like, hey, if you sign up now, we've got a welcome celebration lunch that's happening, in the next half an hour, and you'll have a link that'll pop up. So all of these things can be automatic, right?
Yeah,
so, and that's where it comes into its own, where that home of the event is not hinged on just Zoom. Zoom just happens to be what we use, to have the event. That's our ballroom.
Right.
But the registration process and all of that happens is all done, through Obvio and managing the whole experience.
Right. So you don't have to say, okay, everybody log out now and go into everybody
That's right.
signed up for the coaching program. It's all in there. They sign up for the coaching program, they get tagged, and then they have the link to go into that breakout.
That's right. Yeah. When they come back to the dashboard, they'll see another link. They click that, another button. They click that, and they join automatically. So there still is, like one thing I would love is the sort of the easily switching between Zoom meetings and things. It still relies a little bit on the attendee themselves understanding multitasking on a computer and seeing that behind Zoom is the dashboard is still there, that sort of thing. And some people don't get that.
Right.
But clicking the link gets the dashboard back, and now they see the button, they click, and they can go off to something else. But to answer that, your key question really is about moving from Zoom to Obvio and just doing the bare minimum just to make that shift. That's going to be the biggest thing. And watching the walkthrough that Justin posted is just showing like how to set up that dashboard, probably matching it with the collateral you already have, with sales pages and things like that. Matching that branding, having a basic. I tend to like a Zoom button, the button to join the Zoom meeting, and an agenda. And by agenda, all I mean is the day, like the time it starts, the time it starts, the time it ends. And if you do that through Obvio, you'll see that it automatically does time zone adjustment, which is really handy. So people will see that in their own time zone. And so that's worth having. Is that kind of making sense?
Yes, now it makes total sense. Now I can say, I understand what Obvio is. Let's get started. Bye, Zoom.
Yeah.
And people are like, I can't get in. I had 100 people. I'm like, okay, this is why I'm in this meeting. So thank you.
Do you know what's really hard is, as we think about our marketing of Obvio, is we think about it as being we're opposite to Zoom, like Zoom is the opposition. And so don't use Zoom, use Obvio. And then we go, and then you'll use Zoom. It's like, it's kind of the multiple personalities of Zoom. Don't use Zoom for registration, like a boring business meeting. Use Obvio and handle all of that, do all that fancy stuff. But also Zoom's awesome at actually the video conferencing aspect. We argue that Zoom is the best at that. And so we don't want to be like dissing Zoom and saying it's all so terrible, because actually it's amazing, but we just don't want to use it for registration and and that sort of thing. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I encourage you to find a reason to do a faux event, a meeting with your team. People were talking about family meeting or something, where it's just an excuse to say we're meeting at this time next week and we're going to use these links like this. I'm sending it all out. I'm testing the whole process through high level, and we've now got an event with 6 people, and you test the whole thing and you ask them how it was. And doing that process will build huge confidence, and then you'll be happy to roll it out for your main event. Sweet. Justin, what did I miss? Oh, how do you access Zoom recordings? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just in the Zoom rooms, so Zoom areas and rooms. You'll see. Just thinking if I can show it on this one.
I'm used to getting them in Zoom, so
right.
Yeah, that help article that I threw up there for right now Grant's going to show in a sec, but that help article that up there, I recently actually updated it so it has the most recent instructions.
Oh, awesome.
I will show this one, but it is so when we went to Zoom areas. So an area is a collection of Zoom rooms or Zoom meetings, and that's how we do it. Think of it like a stadium, and so it can have multiple Zoom meetings. But when there's just one, there's just one Zoom meeting in this one. This is one we're in right now. If we hit recordings, this will take a little bit to load because it's got recordings for a couple of years, and every week for a couple of years. So it's not a great example because it's
still might be less than like the 1400 that a certain someone we know had.
That's right. It was a lot.
Won't call it names, Jason.
I could. Oh, there you go. I was about to give up on it and go to another event, but yeah. So now these are the recordings, and so you'll see the basic. The first one that you get here is the screen share with active speaker. But if you look at this arrow, you've got all of these options that happen for all of your recordings, right? So you can get the individuals, gallery view by itself, screen share by itself, and then it's worth everyone knowing as well. You get the chat file, all the chat that happened, but also the audio transcript. That can be particularly handy. Sometimes I've been using this sometimes where I pull this down and then put it into ChatGPT and get summaries or ask it questions. Yes, Kat.
You muted yourself.
Sorry. The audio transcript and the text file. When I share, I go to save chat and then I share the text file. It has a lot of timestamps in it. Does the audio transcript, is that more easily read than a TXT file?
No, it is the TXT file.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Is there any way to get something that doesn't have all of that in it, that just has a running dialogue?
There isn't anything that exists now. You can put it into something like ChatGPT and ask it to take out all the timestamps. Yeah, Sharon. Yeah. And just get it to convert it. So you can do that.
Great.
That's a suggestion for you. Yep.
And Grant, while you're on this page, one thing that we recently changed is that little top warning at the top that they're deleted after 60 days now shows all the time.
Yes.
It used to only show if you had no recordings.
Yes, that's good.
So just a little reminder, they do disappear after 60 days out of Obvio. So we encourage you to download them as soon as they're ready. And the question we always get asked is, when will they be ready? It really depends on how long Zoom takes to process. If you're doing an all-day event, it can be a couple hours, but typically it doesn't take more than 2 to 3 hours for an all-day event.
That's pretty fast. I tend to plan from half time to real time is really what I work on. So
I
definitely don't. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, of all those options that are available, which ones do you recommend that we focus on, and for what purpose?
So generally, if you just wanted a rough and ready recording of what happened, then the default screen share with speaker view is going to be, I think, the best single video. If you don't want to do any editing or anything, you just want, this is what it is. This is like what essentially the YouTube recording is that we have. It's just a full screen of whoever's talking, and then when someone screen shares, it goes to this type of view. So that's what this recording is. If you're wanting to do some editing, so often I might do some events where I want to take the screen share and then I want to take the active speaker and bring that into video editing software and create my own pips and, different designs and layouts, side by sides, or really big slide and small talking head, or, equal, or whatever it is. I can do that because I have a full screen talking head and or active speaker, and I have a full screen of the slides that were shared. And then to take that to the next level again is to then have the gallery view as well. So now I'm mixing in, slides, talking head goes big, slides come back, and then reaction shot, cut to the gallery view. And now I've got some, people laughing at me. And so that's kind of the different aspects of that. And so then the transcript can be used. The transcript can be used for those timestamps can actually be handy. They can be used for captioning. They can also actually be used in some software now to do automatic switching and things. So it gets really clever. But it just depends. That's all there. And I would just say all of this as the caveat to all of this is that we will use this as a backup. If it's really important that you record it, then it shouldn't just be recorded in the Zoom cloud. It needs to be recorded elsewhere. And now that's a whole nother discussion, but you should be thinking about if it's hugely detrimental that you don't have this, then the Zoom cloud should not be your only recording. So that's how we think.
Thank you.
And one thing to note as well, you might not see all the options. So like if nobody screen shared during the meeting, that first video that Grant showed with screen share in the gallery with screen share don't even actually exist if nobody's done a screen share during the meeting.
Yeah, that's true. Cool.
And I don't, did you cover where the multiple spotlights show up, Grant, in those recordings?
No.
I did not hear it, but okay. So that is one thing to note. And I know Liz dropped off the call, so we might have to reach out to her as a FYI. When you do a single spotlight, it shows up in the active speaker view videos. When you do a multiple spotlight, for the time that you have the multiple spotlight, it replaces the gallery or video view. Instead of being the full gallery, it's just the multiple spotlights, which can then make trying to get at a recording where you want to be able to see side by side, makes you actually do some video editing and switch back and forth between speaker view, multiple speaker, or gallery view. So just an FYI, multiple speaker or multiple spotlight shows up in the gallery recordings.
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin.
All right. What's next? Anyone else?
I mean, technically, we still have 34 minutes scheduled, so Franklin still has time.
That's right. You got another half an hour, Franklin.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Want to thank you both for your input last week. I'm still in Ecuador, but I had a little faux pas. One was with the wireless network, and American Airlines kept my luggage, so it kind of threw a monkey wrench in my thing. But I'm here for another few days. I'm thinking about doing a couple of things. So I probably may get in touch with you, Justin, during office hours, either tomorrow or the next day. So that's where I'm at. But I wanted to give you an update on what happened.
Yeah,
beautiful wedding, though. It was amazing.
Well, you're
Yeah.
looking sharp too, Franklin.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a slow connection he's got there.
Yep. He did miss the teal shirt menu though. I caught he's got an orange, but he missed the teal shirt menu.
Yeah, that's right. It's not black, but it's all right. Anyone else? Any other questions or comments? Challenges? Oh.
What's the shirt color going to be for next week?
Can't be too many.
Not a clue. We didn't plan this one at all.
No, exactly. You have to get more colorful ones. It's winter. It's very cold here, and so the fact that I'm wearing short sleeves says more about how long I had the heater on before I came in here.
Yes, it's all the equipment in the office. The office is definitely several degrees warmer than the rest of the house.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to call it. Thank you, everyone. It was fun. Some good questions. And let's do it all again next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.